What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning and welcome to the Shred Show Live. I'm excited, probably more than ever, because I'm hanging out with a good friend and somebody who I truly see as a visionary, somebody who has truly revolutionized our industry, and he doesn't even take enough credit for it. But I'm hanging out with former CEO and founder of SimpleNexus, Matt Hansen, and we're actually going to be getting into that. That is our topic of conversation today. Our industry is changing. Our world is evolving, and Matt Hansen and SimpleNexus are at the very core of what is going on. We're going to be talking about so many incredible things. You're not going to want to miss this. You're going to want to tag your friends. You're going to want to share this because there's so much information that Matt and I are going to get into. Plus, we're having a dang good time. Matt just finished his Tiger's Blood snow cone. I've got my drink. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready? It is time to shred. I literally begin to explain, ladies and gentlemen, how excited. Like, I was literally like laughing and smiling anytime I get to hang out with Matt. Like, he's just one of those people that you can't help but smile around. He makes you feel like a better person, and he does it in such a unique way. So I'm excited to have founder of SimpleNexus hanging out with me this morning, Matt Hansen. Good morning and welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks. Sweet intro, by the way. That was awesome. Like,
well, hey,
I mean, like the graphics and everything, and you're always,
Oh, that's probably the first time you've seen that, huh? You probably haven't seen that intro with your team. You got Kathleen in there. You've got Ben. You've got Shane. So, I mean, and honestly, Matt, that's like the basis of our conversation today is the team at SimpleNexus. I mean, you started this thing just over 10 years ago. And before we get into our entire conversation today, for those who don't know the SimpleNexus story, I mean, you literally, like, you're a developer, you're working on other projects, and your brother-in-law comes to you and says, hey, I'm in the mortgage space. I need some help. Do you think you can do this? And you're like, yeah, I could probably do that. I mean, that's how SimpleNexus started, right?
Yeah. So at the core, I love building. I love creating. I think, honestly, I think it makes everybody happy to do that. Just some people recognize it. But I think people are happiest when they're creating, when they're building. At least that's true for me.
Dude, that's 100% true. And that's, I mean, literally, you kind of segueing into our entire conversation today is you got to do what makes you happiest. You got to do what really, not only when you're doing what makes you happy and that you enjoy, I feel like you're more productive, you're more efficient, and everybody around you, the entire team's like, oh yeah, like I see what he's doing. He's good at that. He's going to play that role. And everybody around you just kind of buys into it. They buy like, hey, we understand this, which, I mean, that's our topic of conversation today, Matt, is you've recently stepped down as CEO. I mean, again, you're founder of it. You're still heavily involved with it, but you stepped down as the CEO. Why did you feel like now it was a time for you to kind of step down and allow someone else to take that role?
Well, it felt right. So Kathleen had been, president for a while. She started as a board member. Yeah. And then, we're looking for some additional just operational strength we didn't have. And she was willing to fill that, which, I mean, was amazing. Right. And I mean, the thought of her being CEO felt like it's better for the company than if I were CEO. And it's not a role I would have given to just anybody, right? It's not right. We weren't hunting for a CEO to come in and run the company. It was, hey, Kathleen can do this a lot better than I could, and I can have a bigger impact in other areas of the company. There are areas of the company where I can make a unique contribution that would also be a talent that would be difficult for other people to fill. Right. Yeah. And it just felt like the right call.
Dude, I love the fact that you just kind of, it happened in the way that it did. And you recognize it. I think sometimes you and I were talking about this, sometimes within our industry, within, all industries, sometimes that CEO role, that title, if you will, some people get so stuck on that they just want to retain that title purely from like a power standpoint, an ego standpoint. But you're like, hey man, like I can benefit our entire organization and possibly our entire industry. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. Kathleen is absolutely poised. She's an incredible leader. We all know literally one of the most impeccable. She was with her experience in the industry as she does. It's just like, hey, this is a good fit. Like, let's just make this change. And then you're like, hey, I have these skills that I can continue to utilize within the company that is going to have a greater impact. So this is one of those things that just made sense for you at the time. And like you said, it wasn't something you were really planning on, right?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't planned. It's something again where I mean, just felt lucky to have Kathleen on our board in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Now where she is today and the role she's playing in the company is like a dream come true. So it couldn't be better.
And that's one of the things that I have so much respect for you as a leader, because you are willing to recognize, like, hey, you know what? I see where SimpleNexus is going. I see how this is growing. I continue, like you said, you continue to surround yourself with impeccable leaders. Like our intro, like we mentioned, you've got Ben, you've got Shane, you've got Kathleen, you've got so many just phenomenal people that are part of the team. You're building this culture too. One of the cool things is, as many people know, I'm here locally in Utah. You're here in Utah. SimpleNexus headquarters is here. Hanging out at the old SimpleNexus headquarters. I know you guys are currently working on a new SimpleNexus headquarters, which you guys have to stay tuned because we're going to have some really cool stuff coming up with David and Courtney and the entire marketing team about the new headquarters. But back to what I was saying is you have built this culture, Matt, and I know it's not just you, but you understand the importance of surrounding yourself with just, incredible people. Like I said, for some of the names that I mentioned, did you ever imagine from when you started SimpleNexus that you would start to aggregate this just impeccable team that you have?
No. I mean, it's grown beyond what I had ever initially imagined, right? Now, where we envision ourselves going forward from today is much larger than what's probably accomplishable. But no, it's just awesome. We have just great people.
You do have great people, and that's what makes an organization like yours so impactful, so strong, is because they continue to just, again, work together cohesively. They continue to share ideas. Every time that I've ever been part of a conversation or been part of, or at you guys' headquarters, just the camaraderie, the support, the love, the respect that everybody has. Again, nobody's perfect. No organization is perfect, but I just continue to feel it, that everybody is supporting one another. We have had Kathleen on the show before, and she does an incredible job. We'll definitely have her again. Great comment there. But so with that being said too, is now you're stepping down, because I know a lot of people have asked, well, now that he's stepping down, is he going somewhere else? Is he working on another project? You're not. You're staying within SimpleNexus. We're not going to give a ton of details, but you're really, like you mentioned, you're staying within SimpleNexus and the ecosystem, correct?
Yep, 14-hour days on SimpleNexus right now are not uncommon.
Holy cow!
No, I'm all SimpleNexus. I don't have any side projects. There's no confidence lost in the company. There's no confidence, lost on me from the company. This is about doing the right things to grow.
And that you couldn't have said that. Those few words, doing the right things to grow. That's what, hey, David Boland, he comments in. He's one of the incredible team members as well over there at SimpleNexus. Doing the right thing now more than ever, Matt, with fintech becoming such a big growing word. It seems like, if I got a dime for every time I heard fintech, we'd all be rich right now, because fintech is such a growing conversation and such a growing space. But at the same time, it's doing the right things for the organization, understanding what continues to help an organization grow. Is there something in particular, as you've made these changes, that you were really excited, like, hey, you know what, SimpleNexus, this is what I'm excited. This is where I'm most, I guess, excited to see us grow in particular?
Yeah. That's like a super long conversation, but
I'm here, man. I'm all ears, brother. I can.
But the things that get me particularly excited are more on the product side, the R&D side. We've got a really strong CI/CD process in engineering, and really what that means is we're deploying new features. We're deploying to production 10 to 12 times per day. We've been doing that for years, which is a totally new idea for this industry, right? This industry is you still see people like they're just like we started doing Agile 2 years ago or something. Well, Agile was like, I mean, that's been a thing for 20 years. And so, well, Agile still has good methodologies. It's also kind of become a dogma in a lot of ways. People feel like it's now become prescriptive, right? Sure. Which is the opposite of its initial intentions. And so in CI/CD, what it does, it creates new processes that not very many companies have figured out how to solve in the world, honestly. And those are communication challenges, internally, externally. So we're working a lot on those. But we're releasing software 12 times a day on average.
Holy cow. That seems like a lot.
So we don't have like the quarterly releases. We don't have, we have our own internal, staging servers and things like this. But what this means, and that doesn't mean that things aren't tested either.
Sure.
It's actually quite heavily vetted and tested. But when there's something that goes wrong, it usually something goes wrong for a few minutes, not a few days. And everybody's terrified of what happens every quarter, right? Because the whole world's going to fall apart. So that's an area that's pretty exciting for me to see that continue to mature. And what that does is that provides companies with the ability to much more rapidly adopt change than in the past, right? And so our customers are able to get new features and functionality much more quickly, adapt to new circumstances. As the market changes, we can shift with the market more quickly than whereas otherwise in the past, larger software companies, you have to kind of bet on what is the market going to look like next year. And then you try and build software to adjust to that. Well, for us, we can turn on a dime, like eClose. We hadn't started eClose. We started eClose last April, and we had it out with customers using it in August. So, we're able to much more quickly adapt to changing circumstances for our customers. So that's pretty exciting. In areas where I get really excited is I have what I believe is there. There are things I don't do well, but an area that I think I am strong is in interpreting customer needs and mapping that over to our to our system, our technology, our architecture, and delivering on those needs in a more efficient fashion. As you continue to grow, it gets harder and harder to find and have talent who's able to see what the customer needs, and then also have that translate over into what your architecture is. As people get more and more specialized roles, it's hard to find people who are able to see the tech side and the customer need side, right?
Absolutely.
So, I can help provide that visualization internally for us. So.
I think this is, Matt, what you just said here the last couple of minutes, this is such, again, why SimpleNexus continues to be the innovator and the forward thinker that they are. Because you have these, we see them within, with our phone updates, with our computer updates, all of a sudden these software updates and these changes happen. But the SimpleNexus team is like, this is always happening. It's continually happening for your consumers. It's continually happening for your customers. It's like, hey, we're making these small updates on a daily basis. We're making these things, and it's ever evolving. The industry is ever evolving. Things are changing rapidly. Things are, innovating rapidly, but you continue to see what is absolutely critical for the needs of your consumers, the end consumer, who is ultimately, which I love, and you guys continue to talk about, is the home buying journey. That's what this is all about. You guys continue to push the envelope and continue to work with the needs of what companies want, of what's ultimately going to make them more efficient. And I think sometimes, like you said, that's your unique gift and ability. Every single one of us have it, but yours in particular is to understand those needs and be able to, like, hey, you know what? I see this is what our industry needs. This is what's going to help our customers be more efficient. This is what's going to help them achieve the dream of home ownership and that home buying journey much more easily. And that is something that we just don't see it a lot within our space right now. And again, you've seen it as long as you've been in this industry. Sometimes we see these software pushes and these updates that just like shut down everything. Like companies are like, oh man, here we go. Like I've got to go through this big update, but you guys see it differently. You're making these small updates all the time.
Yeah. And that does require process changes. So we do a lot of education on new ways for a lender to go through a QA process.
Sure.
Whereas they're used to a different model. And so that's an area that I get real excited about.
That's awesome. Which I kind of want to transition as we start to wrap things up here, Matt, because I know you're busy. You're just coming back from a great time with the entire SimpleNexus team. But I want to talk about our industry. And like you said, from e-closings to so many things that you guys have done within the ecosystem of SimpleNexus. I mean, you literally can, the A to Z part or the experience that can be had through the SimpleNexus app. And that is helping originators at our core make the home buying experience so much more enjoyable. What do you see the next real disruptor is within our space? E-closings, like you said, e-closings is something big that you guys have worked on. Is there a piece of our industry right now that you feel like is behind it? Is it really going to be disrupted next?
It's hard to say because everything, I mean, a lot of what the disruption looks like is oftentimes a big surprise to everyone when it happens. So, but I see it as more of a cumulative effect. And I do see it being much more critical in the very near future for a lot of lenders to be able to have a single sign-on experience for their consumers, right? So when a borrower comes through, I mean, even today, a borrower might have to have 4 or 5 different accounts to be able to close on their loan. It's very confusing. What password did I use? Wait, well, that site wouldn't accept my normal passwords. I use a different password. But there's one. I got 2 passwords. One's for me and one's for my co-borrower because we have the same email address. And I don't know what to do. And so everybody's just confused, right? And so I see as these incremental processes have gotten better and better through the lending process, I see a lot more demand personally for that overall improved consumer experience, not just the loan application. Right. But everything from home search through even living in the home and being able to manage the home, making the lender more synonymous with home ownership. I see those things as being a future.
That's exciting. Like that's the first time I've ever heard anybody kind of talk about it in a one space. I mean, you like right now, like you said, you've got a lot of companies who do have multiple sign-ons for borrowers. Hey, you got to upload your docs here. You got to do this. And we all know, we've talked about it with SimpleNexus. That's what you guys are so good at, is bringing it all in one place, making it that single sign-on experience, which you guys are still working on. But now you're talking about an ecosystem. Now you're talking about a meta world, if you will, where there's the consumer, they come to one place. Not only do they do their mortgage experience, their home shopping experience, everything is done. And then after the mortgage is closed, after the transaction is done, they continue to use that. They continue to be in that from, whatever it may be. That is something that thought right there, Matt, that is exciting. Like that is, I haven't thought about that, but I think that will truly be a disruptor in our space.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm very optimistic about it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Well, it does. Again, we try to simplify, SimpleNexus. We try to simplify the homeowner experience, the home buying journey for our consumers. Why wouldn't we? Like, it just totally, like, everybody wants it. Everybody, as consumers, we want to be able to use this incredible device and just say, hey, I want to, from A to Z, I want to do everything I can right here on my mobile device. So it just makes sense what you're talking about. And dude, that's why it's so exciting, because you're literally the first person that I've heard like say, hey, what if we bring all this into the same ecosystem? And I'm sure Matt's not giving any hints here, but I'm sure, SimpleNexus, you guys continue to innovate and think of those type of ideas. So maybe on the roadmap down the road, right, Matt? No spoilers here, right?
We're working hard. Working hard.
That's why I love Matt. They are working hard. You heard it from Matt, 14-hour days. Their team continues to be dedicated and focused on simplifying that homeowner journey. And that's why I continue to love hanging out with Matt and the entire SimpleNexus team. So Matt, I really want to thank you, appreciate you coming on the show for a few minutes this morning, talking about developing the future of mortgages. And like I've said it and I've shared, SimpleNexus does it so amazingly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't looked at SimpleNexus, you need to click the link below, get to know more information. gentlemen. And again, huge shout out to Matt. Matt, really appreciate you, man. Go get another. You deserve another snow cone. Go get another Tiger's Blood snow cone.
I don't know, maybe a pina colada.
Oh, hey, dude, I'm on my way. If you're making pina coladas, I'm on my way, bro.
Yep. Just text me. I'll tell you where to go.
All right, I say I'll text you. We'll get your address and we're heading over for pina coladas, ladies and gentlemen. But that's what you can. I want to reiterate this, ladies and gentlemen, as Matt, as one of the leaders of the industry, he understands. For all you CEOs out there, if Matt can be your example and say, hey, you know what? I want to do what's best. I want to impact my organization and the industry as a whole. And I understand what I'm good at. I understand there are people who are better than me that can fit this role of CEO. If you've been struggling with that, that's what Matt is sharing with you. You can do it. You can find some. You can create a team. That's why SimpleNexus will continue to be the dominating force of this industry and continue to inspire and continue to motivate. So, Matt, you and your team are awesome, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning.
Thanks, Josh.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Now it's time for all of you to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. We'll see you guys.